Okay, good afternoon. I want to welcome you to this Faculty Technology Showcase sponsored by Distance Education and Learning Technologies. And I'm really excited about this one. We try to have a technology showcase at the end of each semester. This is the first time we focused on iPads and mobile applications. And I think by just seeing the turnout, there's a lot of interest in this at the college. We have a great lineup for you today. Rick Pyers is going to demonstrate Show Me. Leah Allen's going to do Siri. We have Harry St. Hours, Ram Sabetti, and Martha Vaughn, who are all going to demonstrate various aspects of iPads and mobile applications. And just to show you how easy this is, one of the technologies that's going to be shown is Show Me. And you can just simply use your iPad to create tutorials and upload those for your students. So I want to at this time invite Rick Pyers up to demonstrate Show Me, and as Rick is getting set up, I had the opportunity on Monday to give a presentation to the board about distance education and learning technologies, and when I got to mobile apps, I gave a quick review of what Rick is doing in his class with Show Me, and Rick, I will tell you, the board was blown away with what they saw. So everyone is very excited about what you're doing. So
well, that's good to hear. Well, just a little bit of a background. What I'm doing with this iPad is kind of a convergence of two different things. First, for a number of years, I've been very much interested in trying to extend the teaching process outside of the classroom. And to put it in perspective, if you look at the amount of contact hours I have with my students each week, somewhere between 3 and 4. I'm very jealous of the other 168 hours they have away from me, and I want to find a way to try to take some of that time from their other activities. And one of the things I can do to do that is to present the classroom material in a way that students find accessible and which uses as many different avenues of presentation at a time. So if I'm asking them to read the textbook, that's something they don't find very engaging, but it also only presents the material in a very limited fashion. So what I've been doing for a number of years is making, for a couple of years now, is making sort of tutorials using a program called Jing on my computer. It's a very useful program. It does have certain limitations, though. One of them is you can't actually write on your PC. You have to type up the, well, you can, but then you have to erase the screen and it doesn't save anything. You have to type it up in another program, import it, and so on. It makes it a little bit more difficult. There's also a 5-minute limitation on the free version of Jing. And actually, there's a bug, it's either only on my Mac or Macs in general, which allows you to only present for 4 minutes and 45 seconds. But, which is a good thing, because you want to be as brief as possible. But it's a really bad thing if you just got one more sentence to say and you hit that 5-minute window. So I was looking for something a little bit more flexible. Last year, as part of the Learning Technologies Committee, we were talking about the use of iPads. And one of the things I noted is that a lot of the stuff on campus for iPads did not involve classroom applications of them. And I mentioned this to Kathy, and she agreed, and she went about getting funding for a few members of the LTC to get iPads to try to use them in their classroom. And what I've been using them for is a program called Show Me. And that's what's on the screen right now. And what it is it's very similar to Jing in certain ways in that it allows you to record pictures and sound of what's on your screen. It has a few advantages, though. In particular, it allows you to draw and write and record, which makes it less formal and easier to use, but it also makes it more flexible. And what I want to do today is a couple of things. I want to show you the features of this Show Me program. I want to show you some of the things that I've done and talk a little bit about what I'm trying to do with it. So this right here is a library of some of the Show Me's that I have created. And you can see, I'm sure most of these topics mean nothing to most of you in the room. Fisher esterification experiment. That was something I tried where instead of doing a pre-lab in class, I did that beforehand and had the students watch it. This one right here, I'll just hit it and it'll play for a second. I've been looking at making video answer keys for exams. So instead of handing back a paper answer key where the students can look at what I've written down, they can see me go through the whole process of my thoughts on the question and writing out my answer and how I worked to get what I came to. And I think that's something the students are going to find very useful. A couple of other things I've done with it, and I did not mean to do that. Stop and done, go back. This, let's see. This one, for instance. This was a lecture that we had in class, and this discussion, I noticed a couple of things that the students just didn't get. They were having a hard time with. So I went back to my office, and in a few minutes, I actually talked a little bit too long here before I started writing, but I went back to my office and wrote out a tutorial for the topic that people were struggling with. And the idea this semester is to send it to the people so that they can review it, the concept they were having trouble with. But the idea in future semesters is to do it in a more proactive sense. Send this to people before our meeting so they can have reviewed this complex, complicated topic that they struggle with before they get to class, so they have that background already. It makes our discussion a little bit easier on me and them. So, I mean, those are some of the things I'm looking at doing with this. Oh, I keep doing that. Just to show, it's a very simple program to use, just to show you. Actually, before I do that, I want to point out to you that right over here up top, there's an Explore key. You can search for other videos that people have made on a topic of interest to you. So if you don't necessarily want to make one, you want to see what other people have done, you can look and see what other people have done. I will warn you, though, that it is absolutely, positively, 100% not moderated, and there's some really good stuff, but there's some real junk on there too. So check out anything you suggest to students before you do that. Just to show you how to make one. This is the screen that you would start writing on. There are a number of features here. You've got a bunch of different colors you can choose from and write in. And I can change colors as well. Now, this is the erase button in case you make a mistake. Some are more important to erase than others. And if you have a very big mistake that you make, you can erase everything. Or if you just need to start over, you can erase all, or you can erase your drawings only. And the drawings only part comes in because you can actually import pictures as well. And I'll talk about that in a second. This is the undo button. And it does the last thing you did, it undoes. And this is where you would import pictures. And that's one of the few drawbacks, I think, from this program is that the only way you can load up external documents is to take a screen capture of them on your iPod, save them as a photo, and import them as a photo. So, for instance, the exam that I showed you earlier, I had to post it on the screen of my iPad, take a screen capture of it, and that's how I get the questions into the program. So we can choose photos from our camera roll and put photos on there. Now, and I mean, that's pretty much it. And what I just did was make a show me as I was describing that. And I can change. This is just going to replay the stuff that I said. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But you can see how simple it is to make. And that's the real power of this. You don't need a lot of other programs to use. You don't need a lot of experience. They're really easy to make. And I think I will not save that one. And I mean, I think that's pretty much all I was going to say about it. Does anyone have any questions? Yes?
Do you share it as a link or do you send it as a file?
It's a good question, and there are a couple of ways that you can do this. When you save it, it gives you options. And what I've been doing is, it makes a link for it. So you do get a link for it. And what I've been doing is I'll email the link to myself. And if I'm only interested in students looking at that one particular video, I'll just forward that to my whole class. Now, if there's a collection of things that I want students to have available to them, I'll collect all of those links into a Word document, and then I'll send the entire Word document to the class. You can also save it as, I forget what file format, but you can save it locally on your desktop as a different type of movie file that you can run outside of the Show Me website, which I think is an important thing, and which is something I have to go and do and back up, because I'm not sure what this company's business plan is. As far as I can tell, there's only 3 people in a room in New York City working on this company, and I'm afraid they might go away. So I'm going to collect all of mine and save them locally, so I have everything that I've made in case that something bad like that does happen. I hope it doesn't, because they've got a great product. Yes?
Can this be also saved or uploaded on the group portal on my MC?
Yes, it can, and I've done that. Well, let me say it this way. You can load the link to it, and I've done that as well. I've also done this with Blackboard. So I've got a couple of tutorials for a course that I have a Blackboard supplemental site for, and I'll paste the links to these videos to the Blackboard site. Yes?
Can you in any way edit them once they're done?
No, you can't, and that is a limitation. You can't do that with Jing either.
Right.
There's another program I started.
Or Pencast.
Or that one as well. There's another program I found recently called Nomia, which I've only played around with a little bit, and I think you can do a little bit of editing
How do
with
you
that.
spell that?
K-N-O-W-M-I-A or something like that.
Okay.
Actually, I've got it right here. Hold on. Give me 1 second so I can find it. I don't see it right now. Yeah, it's right here. It's this one right here. I'm not sure if they'll open in Windows. Yeah, it's MIA. When I go to open it up, I've always run it through their website. So the link clicks, it sends you to where it's stored on their website. I'm not sure about that. Yes.
So I guess, forgive me for being the Luddite in the room, I'm not getting like how the students receive this. They get a link. What do they need on their end to open
They
this?
just need a web browser. So
any web browser?
Any web browser.
They don't need a Mac, they don't need to be an Apple? Okay.
They click on the link and it takes them to this company's website where these videos are stored.
This is how they do it from their phones?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. If not, thank you for listening.
Thanks, Rick. I think the beauty of what Rick was showing when he talked about editing, these are so easy to create that you just do another one on the fly, and you don't have to spend a whole lot of time editing and going back.
And I would emphasize it's important. A good idea is to keep them short, not only to keep your students' interest, but in case you do have to do some of that editing, you don't lose as much.
Are your students using them a lot? Do you have a sense of what their participation is?
That's a good question, and I need to find out more about that. I know that people do seem to like them.
Is there a counter, maybe, a way to put on there so you could find out how many times it was opened?
I'm not sure if you can do it through their site. What I can do, though, is I believe you can track the access on Blackboard, so I can look at how often they've accessed the ones I have posted on Blackboard.
I've watched Rick's about a dozen times, and I have no idea what he's talking about.
Neither of my students. My students.
Not a substitute for going to class.
Okay. At this point, let me introduce Leah Allen, who's going to demonstrate Doceri.
Siri is a program that I've actually been using this semester. It requires a Wi-Fi connection for the iPad and for the computer that you're running the presentation off of though. So that's one issue that we had at the beginning of the semester, because we weren't getting a stable Wi-Fi connection over in the Science Center, but thanks to Eunice Forsyth and the other people in the IT department, we were able to fix that problem. So I've actually been able to use this toward the last half of the semester. So what Doceri is going to allow me to do is control my presentation off of the iPad, but it also acts like a smartboard. So from anywhere in the room, I can talk through a process, and I can label what I'm talking about on the screen. I can change colors. So here we're seeing a white blood cell eat some bacteria. So we could label those bacteria with a green label, and we could also label the white blood cell. It doesn't just act off of the PowerPoint. So it can also act on a video. If I want to actually show my students a real white blood cell eating some bacteria, I can go to a website, maybe. But the thing with this website is that there are there's nobody talking to explain what's going on to the students. So if I want to make sure that they know what the white blood cell is, I can pause it before it starts, and we can talk about what it is they're seeing before I actually run the movie. So here is the white blood cell. It's swimming through some red blood cells in a blood smear, and it's going after some bacteria.
Oh,
Okay, and so then I can run the movie, and I know that everybody knows what they're actually seeing before I run it. I'm not going to actually run that movie for you, but you get the idea, right? All right. I can also use this app to engage the students. So sometimes what I'll do, I teach anatomy and physiology, if you haven't noticed yet. So, a lot of the time the students will, especially those at the back of the room, won't be paying as much attention, right? I'm sure that happens in everybody's classes. So if I want to see if somebody in the back row has been reading the book before they came to class, I can go to one of those students that's hiding in the back row, and I can ask them to label, say, the right atrium.
no.
I know that she knows the answer.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
It helps if you change the color before you hand it to the student. Also, a lot of them don't know how to use a stylus. A lot of them don't know how to use a stylus, so you actually have to tell them, no, don't use the sharp end and scratch up my iPad. Right, use the soft end.
What's the app again?
It's Doceri, D-O-C-E-R-I. Now, what you all can't see is my view. So I took some screen captures. Oh, I forgot I added this. So another thing that we can do is we can actually record our lectures while we're presenting, or you can use the app before class to record something that you would normally draw on the whiteboard, but maybe you don't have enough space to, or maybe you want to be able to go through it quickly instead of hand drawing it all in class. So I've embedded a video that I made. I have it on mute because I don't like how my voice sounds on it. But if I wanted to, I could upload this video to YouTube or to Dropbox or to Blackboard, and my students could watch it after class. Okay, and the recording option is something that I've just started to play with, so I'm hoping next semester I can actually record my lectures as we're going through lecture and post it afterward for them. All right, so let's see. Here we go. So when you first go into Doceri, it gives you a couple of options. You can either work just off of the iPad or through your computer. So what I had done is I had selected the computer option to do the presentation today, but I want to show you what it looks like when you go in just to the iPad, because there are a lot of options here. One thing that it does is it saves every drawing that you do. So you do have to go back through and delete those, or it's going to eat up all of the memory on your iPad. Another option that it gives you is to create a whole new presentation. That's what the little positive sign in the bottom is for. So if I hit that, I now have a whiteboard that I can draw on, and that's what I actually use to make the video. You can also see at the top of the screen there are a bunch of buttons that I can choose from, and these are actually buttons I can see during my presentation, so I have options to change things like the background. Also, when you do a recording, this was something that tripped me up. Most of it, I think, is pretty intuitive if you're used to working with the iPad technology, but the recordings don't save in the same place that the drawings do. So if you want to access the recording, you actually have to hit the record button, and it gives you options. One of the options is to look at previous recordings. Other options, you have a host of colors to choose from. If you don't like any of the ones that they have programmed in, you can select any you want based off of the color wheel. You can also change the background color, and you can upload images too, so directly on this app. So if I want to talk about a picture that I've saved on my iPad, I can do that. It's also really easy to export off of this, so you can save images as PDFs and drop them into things like Dropbox or Evernote if you've been using that in your class. My students really like to use Dropbox. I just started using that this semester actually, but I'm hoping I can upload some of those videos next semester into it. If I go back and I connect through the computer, it tells me all of the computers that are in the room, and it shows me which ones are actually connected to Doceri. So you can see this one has symbol within the computer that shows me that Doceri is actually working on it. So I know that's the one I want to connect to. And when I do, you can see all of those same buttons at the top of the screen. So that's all I was planning on telling you all about Doceri. Do you have any questions about it?
Yeah. Is there a software link on the computer as well, or?
Yeah, you have to have Doceri on the computer and on the iPad, and it's not free. It's $30, but I think it's well worth it. $30? $30, yeah.
Yep. Is that the cost for the app
or the cost to link to it on your
That's
computer?
for a license, so you can do it as a free trial just to test it out, but they have this obnoxious symbol that shows up right in the corner of your screen that takes up a decent amount of space. So if you want to play with it, I would suggest doing the free trial, and then if you really like it, asking for the $30 to have the site license. If you have it on your iPad, the license on the iPad, it will work with any computer that has Doceri on it.
Why do I need Doceri? How does that benefit me on my computer versus my iPad?
It has to be on both, because the two have to be able to talk to each other through the Wi-Fi. So that's why I had to bring in my laptop, because right now our campus computers don't have the ability to connect via Wi-Fi.
That's the project. Is that why?
Well, because the presentation is on the computer, yeah, and so if I want to project that presentation and be able to move around the room with the iPad and control it,
I got it. I understand it now.
they both have to have it.
I got it.
So the computer, the software download is free?
Yes, but if you want to get rid of the obnoxious symbol that comes up in the corner of your slide, you have to have the site license.
Question over there.
Yeah.
I was wondering, once you download it to your iPad, do they give you a code or something where you can go to their website and download it to your PC as well, or do you have to buy it for both?
It's free to download initially. It's just to use it without the symbol in the corner of your screen, you have to have a license. And as long as that license is on your iPad, it will work with any computer without showing the symbol for the free trial.
Okay, so when you download it to your PC, it's not going to show it?
As long as you have a site license on one or the other.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be on both.
So could you download that into your station in your classroom, or no?
Right now it won't work that way because you can't connect the station to the Wi-Fi, and they both have to be connected by the same type of internet connection in order to talk.
Okay.
That's why I had to bring in my laptop to use it today.
But if you plugged that directly into the smart station, would that do it? It just meant that you couldn't walk around.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
have you tried it with your smartphone? As a reminder?
no, well, because I like to be able to write on it, and I feel like my smartphone is so small that I won't be able to use it like a smart board.
But the point is that if you have a laptop with Wi-Fi that you use, you can make this work.
Exactly, and that's what I've been doing this semester. And the students really like it. At first they were kind of hesitant about using my iPad, but now they're, well, now that it's the end of the semester, they're very comfortable with
But you can
it.
take these and put them into the Dropbox, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. The recordings are a little more difficult to upload, but they have a link to YouTube too. So if you set up a class YouTube account, you could pop all of your recordings straight onto there, no problem. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Leah. At this time, let me have Harry St. Hours come up and show how he's using his iPad in the classroom.
Good afternoon. See, that's the way. Hi, everyone. Isn't this fun?
Yes, it is.
Yes, I think so.
Yep.
I started, like a lot of you did, with the web, just making online course work in a blended course, a hybrid course, a web-enhanced course, whatever it is you want to call it. And the material just started to grow and grow. So this is one of the courses, Digital Tools for the Visual Arts, where of course you can include the syllabus, and you can include the bookshelf of recommended reading and other reading, and also I started including lessons. I feed them to the students after the lesson. I don't want to list them all and then have them go through 3 or 4 weeks ahead. So I just kind of feed them one at a time. Sorry, it's a slow loading page, because there's quite a few lessons here. Each one of the lessons is, oh, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 pages, and each one has dozens of graphics. So for example, one of the lessons vector illustration, for example, has all of the individual slides. It's a review of what we do in the classroom live. This is not a distance learning class. This is this is a live class that is supported by a website. So students can look at the individual images to review the material that shows everything that we did and gives helpful, hopefully, tips and tricks. Or they can download each and every lesson as a PDF. They just click on the PDF and then they have it and they can keep it. And this is mostly computer-based, right? Most websites are, but it can be done on a pad. It can even be done on a smartphone if you want. And then these things can be stored. Of course, the PDFs can be stored and all of that stuff. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting to take all of this material, all of these lessons, which is really quite a substantial amount of material, and turn it into something worthwhile. So early on, I was experimenting with ebooks and a number of other media, new media, in which to, even traditional books. And then Pages came along. So those of you that are Mac users know that you can write and use inline graphics and export as an EPUB pretty nicely. But then Apple did something, I think, that was really nice, and they developed Ibooks Author. So let me go to my iBooks library. And in Ibooks Author, you can create a number of multi-touch books specifically for the iPad. So let me horizontalize this thing. Sorry, unplug, replug, unplug, replug, unplug, replug. No, sorry. Okay. Yeah, it's just my plugs slipping out when I hold it. There we go. So in the so you can get a number of these multi-touch books. So I decided, well, let's try to build one with the material I had, because I had quite an extensive amount of material. Sorry, as I hold this, the weight just wants to pull it out. There we go. So I've got this book that I created called Digital Tools for the Visual Arts. It's a multi-touch book. Starts with a little video. Hello everyone, my name is Harry Sandhowers, and I'd like to welcome you. Yeah, I need that. And then it's got the copyright information and the welcome information. So this is kind of the way it is. It allows you to have clickable links, and you can put in some of the material that you wish, and then dismiss it. And you can go through all of the different chapters, and then each of the chapters, of course, has its own kind of individual bits of information. You can even put in video and audio and keynote presentations. So I've got a keynote presentation that I do in the classroom that students can review here in the iBook. And that goes on for a while. And on and on. Right? So it's actually kind of fun. This has now been, I'm very fortunate, it's been featured on the arts and entertainment section of the iBook store for Ibooks Author books. So it's kind of fun. I'm selling a couple of them. It's kind of neat. So you can, for example, in image correction or image acquisition, I can show the information that we've reviewed in the classroom, really specific information. I mean, this is what students need, I find. A lot of us worry that the students are so far advanced and we have to catch up. We have to have an iPad. You know, they mostly don't. There'll be one or two that have it, that know how to use this. But it's mostly just for us. I do not require my students to buy this. They wouldn't know how to use it if they could afford to buy. It's only $4, but you get the idea that this is something that is coming. This is something that's around the corner. So, in addition to this, Apple's done their whole iTunes U thing. You probably know about iTunes U. So I put together an iTunes University course. I'm not sure where Montgomery College's iTunes U initiative is, but I'm fortunate to be able to work with Apple on some of these. So I've got an iTunes University course that I built just for this Digital Tools for the Visual Arts course. So it's got a, don't want to go back to the library. I want to go to the material. So the students can view the material. This is the book broken down for free for all of the students. And I can give them the private link that goes to this iTunes University course, and then I can Student management's still a little weak, who's coming and what dates they come and that sort of thing. So we're working on giving Apple feedback. But there's all sorts of materials, there's videos, there's a link to the book, there's a link to all of the individual documents. So here are all of the lessons that students can download here. That's that one, the vector illustration, as a PDF, so students can review all of the material that way as well. Download it so that it's off-site. They don't need it online when they're working with it. There's lots of great ways to manage the info too. There's the info tab on the side that allows you to do different kinds of information, the overview, my favorite page, the instructor page, where you can send the instructor email right away if you need to. So clickable links for email is a great way to work with this delete draft, and then the outline of the course, so you can, of course, get the whole outline. The beauty comes in a number of different ways, not just the materials, which are all the stuff, but in the notes that students can take. Students can actually tap the plus button to add a course note, and then they can take notes and even share the notes among themselves if they want to. So that's pretty good too. Audio video notes, so they can record right from a smart device into the iTunes U course, and book notes from the book. You can highlight, ties together with the book that's linked to the iTunes U course. So if they do a virtual highlight, a yellow highlight, like you can do pretty much any book, it's linked into the iTunes U course, which is kind of fun too. Now, posts is an opportunity to, for every lesson, add some posts. So this one I'm building, I don't have posts for it, but I do have a work that I'm working on with about a half a dozen other Apple educators from around the world, and we're building a book called My Global Voice, which is essentially a book about publishing with Ibooks Author, but it's for K through 20 teachers. So we're kind of evolving this. There's a lot of K through 6 specificity. There's middle school and higher ed specificity. There's all sorts of granularity in this development. So if you go, for example, to posts, here are all of the student examples using Ibooks Author. So you can take a look at the different examples, and as you go through them, you can check off what you've done. So I've done that, I watched the video. If you haven't watched the video, you just click on a little button and you can click on the video on YouTube and it'll take you right there and you can watch it. So as you check off this stuff, the students actually have a way to work through the different course material, which is kind of fun. And then if you go to, let's see where I got my materials here. We have a lot of materials that we built. Some really amazing people have helped us and have been involved. And what I've learned is a lot about this has been accessibility. Not only that you have to put accessibility tags for all of your images so that people that have difficulty with reading can have it spoken to them, but you can also closed caption your video for free quite easily. So any rich media, any rich material should actually have accessibility for those who have special needs. So lots of information here, including, I think I wrote a couple of books for this. Let me go to kinds of materials, books. And I wrote a couple of books, like Elegant Design. This is an iBook again, so Elegant Design. So let me switch that. Switch orientation. A digital projector, thanks. A digital projector will display this perfectly. We're very fortunate, Edriggs has really taken a great leap in our labs, our Mac labs over the technical center. And we've got a great digital projector that just pops off the screen without distorting any of the images or the people, and the colors snaps just right. So, so here's just another way to look at the technology, Elegant Design for with Ibooks Author. Allows me to do a little welcome and templates and tools and grids and guides, just sort of how to use these tools mostly for educators. So these are teaching educators how to use these tools in the classroom. And Ibooks Author, yes, it's proprietary. Yes, it's Apple only. Yes, it's this, that, and the other. But there's nobody else that can do it. Amazon can't do it yet. B&N can't do it yet. Pubit can't do it yet. Nobody can actually publish this stuff yet, have the infrastructure to do a multi-touch book. So it's really an opportunity for us to play. This is really a unique time. This is a time when educators who are early adopters can change the way publishers look at us. The big six are now having a great deal of difficulty with indie publishers, traditional indie publishers, because independent publishers can publish on their own. And then there's lots of articles that come out of the publishing houses that say, oh, there's just so much problems with it. There's grammatical errors, spelling errors. Independent publishers just aren't worth the free price they put on their books. This is just the argument we got when the first websites came out. Oh, you can't make a website. Look, it looks horrible. It's all blue underlined hyperlinks with black alias text. What are you doing? And a few of us said, no, give me 100 million websites and let me pick the ones that I think are important. Don't limit what we can do because you've got a business model. So this is kind of a way that we can start to influence, as educators, the way books are sold or not sold. And believe me, Pearson, McGraw-Hill, they're starting to take notice. And that's good. That's good for us, good for everybody. It's going to bring down the price of books dramatically. It's going to bring books down to an a la carte menu where you can rent chapters for relatively inexpensive, which is really good. Starting to break the digital rights management, the DRM hold that a lot of publishers have over that, just the way the music industry crumbled with that. So first the music industry had to be kind of dismantled, taken apart. Now the publication industry is having its monopoly broken apart as well. The next step, cable TV. It's coming. 2-3 years, to be able to get, your HBO Go without having to subscribe to a cable company for, how many of you are paying less than $200 a month for information? Why do we pay all this money? We pay for cable, we pay for cell phone, we pay for internet, we pay for everything, and again and again and again, and it's just the same digits, same ones and zeros passing through a cable, but we're cash cows, frankly. We don't have the clout, we don't have the fight, but it's starting to crumble, and there's people that are taking the initiative on this, and you gotta love them. Anyhow, I'm probably over my time. That's all I'm going to say. But, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Aaron?
Yes?
So you are saying that we could create an iBook?
You can create an iBook today with the absolutely free application called Ibooks Author that you can download from the App Store right now.
And when we create the iBook, a student could access the iBook only from an
iPad. Alas, the multi-touch iBooks that we're looking at here are indeed specific to the iPad 2 or greater. Okay. And I'm very hopeful that there'll be a universal, this is an IBA format, .IBA. I'm very hopeful that the Surface tablet and other tablets that we see coming are going to be able to work with Apple to adopt a common format that will be universal for everyone.
How about
it just is going to take some time.
When you make the book and you want to import an image, how do you get into the copyright issues? Somebody owns that image?
Good question. So here's what I do. I make everything myself. So like all of that, that's me. That's my photo, that's my screenshots, that's my text, right? So in addition, let me just toss this down. Oh, don't do that. That's 4 fingers. I need just 3 fingers, 2 fingers. So in addition, I do a, I do something, and I was hoping someone would ask this question, and I don't have it. Oh, okay, here it is. Never mind. Don't go away. Don't go away. Here it is. There it is. Copyright. So what I do with copyright is, for the book, it's all rights reserved, because the book has nothing in it that is not mine, except a few logo shots, and I give this permission, sort of permission of the author, brand names, etc. But in the other material I give to students is Creative Commons, Attribution, Share Alike. So it's totally free. And if I've got one of those, I think I might. See if I've got, at least I can show you what that Creative Commons attribution looks like. I give it away. And if I go to my library, I might have something in a PDF. All my PDFs have, I can do that from the class website. Do that too. Let's go to the class website and show you an attribution page. So, for example, my concise history of computers in the arts, which is a lot of images that are public domain. I do anything that's not my original stuff. What is it? There it is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike 3.0 license. So all images and text are by the author or used with permission or under the Fair Use for Educators Clause of the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of 2000. You got to read that DMCA really carefully. It does not give you permission to take stuff off the web and let your students use it. I know a lot of teachers are like, oh, it's just for school. Sure, take that picture of Kobe Bryant off the ESPN website and make a little thing out of it. No! To be a good digital citizen, you have to learn how to be one who uses these resources properly. You have to download from legal websites, read the terms of use, make sure that it's all within legal boundaries. If these students want to use any of this as portfolio pieces, then they're going to need to have the rights to use it. And I insist on it. I require attribution pages for all images that aren't their own. Right?
Thank you, Harry, for doing this.
Pleasure. Stop.
I just wanted to point out two things. Number one, Harry, being as humble as he is an Apple distinguished educator.
Stop it.
I don't know if any of you guys knew that. I don't know if some of the other timers do.
It means I pay my own way to conferences.
Yes, that's quite an honor, number one. Number two, the Ibook Creation, there is a Mac desktop version where you can create a PDF also. It may not have all the features that Harry pointed out, because there are some features unique to the platform or to the hardware. But you can also create a PDF that can be used without, not necessarily looking at it. So you have a little bit of flexibility there. And like Harry was saying, people are working on standards, quote unquote, that would apply to go across platform apps in the future. But thank you, Harry.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? I guess I'm close to out of time. But if there's any other questions, perhaps Professor Harry at me.com, I think works. So Professor Harry at me.com, and I can share the book. I have, if you don't have to buy the Ibooks Author, if you have an iPad, email me, and I will send you a link to my public Dropbox account where you can, from your iPad, download a free copy of the book and just kind of look through it and have a little fun with it. It's not as multi-touch as I'd like to make it because I don't do like 3D modeling anymore or videos too much, but you can see the promise of it. Let's take a look. Okay.
Thank you. I'd like to, at this point, introduce Ron Sabetti, math instructor at Tacoma Park, just to illustrate how quickly these things are changing. When we set this up, Ron was going to demonstrate reflection, an app called Reflection. He just informed me they changed their name to Reflector. So, Ron?
Thank you. I'm going to be a few minutes. I need to set things up. So in the meantime, you're welcome to talk amongst each other. Say hello if you haven't done so. Okay.
Harry, what did you say that email address was?
Professor Harry at me.com.
At me?
Me, M-E.
We're going to get started. The first thing is, when we got the iPad from Learning Technologies Committee, one of the things that we had to do, or we were set to do, is to explore different applications. And many of you, I see, have iPads and whatnot in front of you. So I always like to do things that are I guess that make my life easier in the classroom. Okay, I'm sure you guys do the same too. But one of the things was when I first joined the college, they gave me a big bag of Smart View or whatever they're called to project my calculator to the screen. Okay, I was not. I mean, I like lifting weights, but that was not for me. Okay, so I downloaded the calculator into my computer and put that in my flash drive, and I use that ever since. I've never carried that thing, the bulk around anymore. So the same thing with the iPad too. When I had this, the first thing was, well, I have a cable. It's long enough to hang me, but it's and one of the things like many of us do is in the classroom we like to walk around, ask questions, peek in what they're doing, right? All those things. So I try to do that too, but if my iPad is tethered to the station here, anything that I talk about or anything that we discuss in class brings me to the front of the desk to make any changes. So earlier, Leah showed you how you can control the desktop from your iPad, do all sorts of things, right? You guys were here, right? I was not here, I was in the classroom when she was presenting, so I had to drive from Tacoma all the way, just made it in time. But anyway, my approach is just the opposite of what Leah is doing. Instead of controlling the computer, I want the computer to show everything that is in my laptop. All the apps, all the things that, you know, surfing in the internet or music, whatever you have, including the sounds. I want whatever I see here to be relate to the projector, okay? But I don't want this. Don't want that. Okay?
Whoa.
That was, anyway, all right. The first thing to do is, just like the Doceri application earlier, this will work, what I'm trying to do will work only when our laptop and the receiving computer are in the same network. Well, we are technically, it's just a different branching of our network. So I think the IT folks are well aware of that and may be working on it too. So hopefully soon enough, we'll have it working. So we'll see about that. But until then, we can, you know, haul around our laptops, and our laptop can communicate with the wireless. iPads will communicate with the wireless. So it will still work, okay? So the first thing is to go to, there are two applications which are very, very similar. One is called reflection, okay? Just a reflection. But I realized just the other day, I'm looking for reflection and there's no name, as Mike pointed out earlier. It's no reflection anymore, it's reflector or reflector, whatever the right pronunciation is. So the reflector application, what it does is it takes the content of my iPad and mirrors it to the computer or any screening device we have. We connect it to the computer, that's why it's projecting there, okay? There is another application called Airserver, which also does the same thing. And I think Airserver licenses its, well, gets its license from the Reflector folks to do the same thing. So I think the basic engine that is running both the things are the same. So I'm going to show you both. We'll look at the licensing and the cost, and we'll see the apps at work as well. Okay. So Reflector App. .com. So in the Reflector app, you have, I guess, this basic page that shows what to do. And I tried downloading directly from here. It downloaded a Mac version. I have a PC. So the way to get around it would be to go to Get Started link on the right. So if you go to Get Started, and they give you a choice of Mac or PC here. So if you're a Mac, go with Mac, PC, right? And the thing about Reflector is that it allows you to try for 10 minutes. Now what I found is after the 10 minutes is over, the mirroring will stop. And if I want to try a little bit more, I kind of cheat. I close the application and start again. And it gives you another 10 minutes. So if I just want to do 10-minute chunks, you don't have to pay for it right now. Okay, but eventually if we decide to officially use it, I think that's something to do with licensing and
How much?
I'm going to click on it. Yeah. So if you click on the purchase part, single user license, $14.99, and you can install it either on Mac or PC, as I said. Also, multi-user license is $50 for 5 seats. Now, so the technology that Reflector has is also available in Airserver. So airserverapp.com. Again, lots of accolades for different people here. So if we just go to download now, it'll give you different options for PC. You can either have a 7-day trial for free. So unlike Reflector, this gives you a 7-day trial. Standard license is $5 for 5 uses, 5 PCs. One person using it, or I guess more, I don't know. But 5 PCs is $14.99. Reflector was $14.99 for 1. This is 5, so it's a little better that way. For a student license, $12 for 3 licenses. And you can get a commercial license for $3.99 per piece.
That's not how we spell license.
No, $3.99 per piece.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing with the Mac version 2, which is at the bottom. So all you do is just click on it. Okay, you want to try it, download the free trial, install it, and it is set to start automatically when you start up your computer. And if it does not in Mac, I think you go to your applications and start the Airserver or Reflector, whatever you have. In PC, it's already built into the startup process. If not, then what I will do is I'll go to my applications folder, and I pinned it to the start menu here. So I open it, try Reflection. I haven't paid for the license yet, so I'm going to try it. Okay, I'm still trying Reflection, people. Or Reflector. Actually, I've not even updated my application, looks like. I still have Reflection. If I update it, it will name itself Reflector. Okay? Now, so 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to finish this in 10 minutes. So after the application is running, you'll see in your lower tray icon here, Reflection, it says Reflector if you download it. Now, we need to, first of all, make sure that both my computer and this one are in the same network. Okay, that's very important. At home also, you can do it more easily because generally you are in the same network. When you have Wi-Fi or cables running through your router, it's the same network, doesn't matter, it'll work. But at school it's a little complicated, that's why I had to carry my laptop with me. So once Reflectors or Reflection, or for that matter, Airserver starts running, I gotta go to the multitasking tray in the iPad. Or you can also use your iPhone 4S onward, iPad 2 onwards, it will work. Okay? So if you have your iPhones 4S or later, you can try that too. So either double click here in the home menu, or you can just use 4 fingers, slide up, hopefully it will work. Okay? So since it's very difficult for me to show you here, I'm just going to connect it there and show it to you, okay? Okay. One second. Something is playing with my. Okay. Okay. So when you swipe your fingers up, 4 fingers up, this might show. Okay? And then you can just swipe it to the right, and this will show. Okay? For the mirroring to work, you should be able to see this icon here with the triangle and a rectangle. If you don't see that, you're out of luck. Okay? Well, there are many, many complications that can go wrong, and I'm only starting to explore this, so I don't know how much I know. Okay? Well, anyway, so once you have that, you click on that one, and it will show you what the machines available are. Mine is X230, that's the name of model of the computer, and turn the mirroring on or off like this. Okay. So I'm going to turn it on. So as soon as I turn it on, it's over there. Okay, that's it. Yeah. Now, somebody else joined in. Who was it?
I turned it off.
Okay. So, you try to steal my show here. Well, anyway, so that's the next part. That's okay, you can stay there. So the thing is, if I put it this way or that way, it will rotate, hopefully, to accommodate your orientation. Also, you're also able to, since you may have a black iPad. If you don't like it, right-click on the machine somewhere. There you go. Aesthetics, right? So you can do those things. You can actually resize it to make it a little bit bigger, and it doesn't always play nice with resizing and all. So you just have to try a little bit. All right. So this is it. You have it. Okay. You wanna, well, maybe you are teaching some lesson in your class, and you want to ask the students what's going on about a few things. So I have an application called Edu Creations. Cannot see it that well over here. The resolution is pretty bad, but okay. So this application called Edu Creations, which is in the same line as Show Me or Sync Space. Those are all, they do almost all, exactly the same thing. I've been using it for a few. So what this application does is give you a basic whiteboard application, okay? So if I want to start, if I want to create, or if I wanted to record whatever is going on right now, whatever I'm saying, and whatever is going on in the classroom, I can start a new lesson. So this is the whiteboard. Just like those Siri or other applications, you can now interact with the whiteboard and say, okay, right, hello world. That's the first computer programming that you write. I lost my the stylus, so I have to write it with my finger. But you can do whatever here, right? Now, if you wanted to show something else, you can look at the mountain with the sun or the moon, whatever it is. If you press that one, you can get pictures from camera, photos, Dropbox, or the web itself. It will show all the images from the web. Now, what I find that useful is I want to show my students something, and I've already used this screen. I want to get a new one, so there is an arrow at the bottom. Click on it, will give me the next page. I think that's what's different about this from Show Me. Show Me only has one page. So I want to take a picture. Okay, so I'm looking around. Oh, there's an invisible student with paper. So I'm asking, what are you doing? Let's see, and everybody, you know, I spot something that's that's exciting. So
yeah, that's exciting. I like that a lot.
So math folks.
All right. Can we turn it? I see.
Like playing game here. There you go.
Oh, man.
Because you took it
Well,
sideways.
yeah, took it sideways.
Yeah, okay.
That's the native orientation of the
Well, anyway.
You're not rotating the document.
Well, anyway, you know how to tilt your head sideways. It's yoga. Right? All right. Anyway, so I can now discuss, not only discuss, I can annotate. So I'm going to say, use this picture, the doll. And then don't worry, I'll just rotate it.
There you go. There's a rotation.
I can just rotate it. So, and make it small, put it here. I want to, maybe I see another example from another student, or just want to show their faces. I can just point here. Not yours. Don't worry, Nancy. Okay. So we can do all those things, right? So this is, I find it very interesting because now I can say, well, you know, the mistake might be some, you know, can you spot a mistake here? That would be probably one of the first questions. So as soon as they, oops, clear ink, and move, resize, okay. So as soon as, you know, they realize what the mistake is, if they do, then I say, okay, great. If not, then, you know, I can start saying, maybe let's look at over here, what's going on. So now I'm not tethered to the computer. I can walk around if anybody has any questions, anything, you know, whatever you can see in front of you in the web, it can be done there, okay? Now, not only that, this Edu Creations has something interesting that I found. So let's go to that website. So educreations.com. Just like Show Me, if you've seen Show Me before, it's not too different. But there's one very interesting part that I saw. You can sign up for different things here, but let me sign out so we'll see what exactly it is. Okay. So get the free app, sign up for free. Free app is here, right? You can sign up for free. And are you a student, teacher? Okay, general sign up process. Now, as soon as you sign in, I think I use my Gmail account. Okay. Log in. All right, so what is exciting here is if you look at this, you can click on your dashboard and you can see what's going on here. It says create a course. So you can create a course and let students enroll in that course so that your students and yours only will be able to see that. So you don't have to show it to the world if you don't like it. Okay, there are some copyright issues or some, you want to protect your intellectual property or whatever you have, you might want to use that. Okay? Now, so once you do that, you can, so I created a course called Test Drive. So, and then you can either create a new lesson on the web, or you can go to your this thing here, and the top right button here is record. So if you want anything to be recorded, you can just record it there. You can share, you know, Facebook, Twitter, what have you, all those things. Now, Airserver also does the same thing. So just copy and paste what I said. All right. Anything else? Any questions you have? That's it for me. I don't really have anything else.
How easy do you post? Do you, what is it called, posting? You create.
Well, let's see. Let's see. Okay. So the mistake is right here.
Yeah.
All right. So let's stop it. Done. Save the lesson. Title. Okay. Error, I guess. Description. Next, then you're gonna make it private, public. Students, my school. So let's make it private for now. Subject area, and then save it.
Oh, you must be at the end of your 10 minutes.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so.
We ran out of time.
Anyway.
Stay tuned next episode.
Yeah, I can start over again another 10 minutes, but I think you have the idea now. If you don't, you can ask questions, and we can do a question and answer session rather than, you know, look at the same thing again. Other questions?
Do you think you could change your email address that's linked with it if you?
Yeah, I mean, you can put whatever address you want. I mean,
You
I
could
didn't want
change it midway.
I didn't want to change. I don't know about that, probably. But if you just, you know, their customer service helpline is pretty good. So you can ask them, and I think they will be able to help you. But I have not tried that. Other questions?
One of the things Ram and I found out when we were playing with this is that Bluetooth has to be off. The Bluetooth is
Right.
when it wasn't connecting with the iPad.
So, well, that reminds me, I should also talk about, I thought I was taking too long, so I'm trying to cut it short. One of the problems that you may have is basically not seeing the triangle, the Airserver, the mirroring icon there. So check your firewall. Maybe you want to turn it off for a second and see if that helps at home. At work, you know, call IT help right here. They'll be able to help you out. Another thing is, last time when we were trying it, I was able to do everything fine, and Mike said, hey, you know, I cannot do anything. I cannot see it. But a few, I think, days ago or hours ago, we had done it successfully. So we realized that if you have a Bluetooth connection, generally, especially if it is Apple device, it will play nice. Okay, even if it's Bluetooth connected with Apple device, it will be fine. But if you have some other non-Apple Bluetooth devices, then things might not work as intended. Okay, so this application is this Airserver and Reflector. They're basically for just freeing yourself from that podium. And Siri will let you grab that iPad and control everything there. Airserver will let you take everything from your iPad and throw it there. So both ways, we have you covered. Okay? Questions?
It seems, as with Doceri, that a laptop is required because of Wi-Fi limitations at the college.
Right, same thing here.
Same thing with this.
Yes, same thing. Question, yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay. I'll take it.
Could you tell me the difference in your student response to you as a teacher as you're using this now versus prior to using this?
Not enough data. I don't have enough information.
Can you give me some anecdotal?
You know,
Statistics teacher.
you know, everything at first looks very nice and, you know, exciting. So yes, the students get excited about this, but has it been truly useful? Is it making a difference? I think time will tell. I cannot tell you. We just started.
No, that's a fair answer.
Yeah.
That's a fair
I have no idea.
How long have you been using it in your classes?
Maybe
2 semesters, 1
less
semester?
than a month.
Yeah.
Just 1 month.
Not even a month.
All right.
And not even all the time, because, you know, I'm not going to be carrying that all the time, even if I'm talking. You know, there are other ways of interacting with the students, which do not, you know, I don't want to carry that laptop, I mean, that iPad with me all the time also. So, especially if your class is more PowerPoint and, you know, Prezi and all those oriented class, it might work. And you saw that the display is not always exciting. I think the arts folks may have a better shot at it because their projector is more digital, I think, right? So we are kind of limited with what we have. And another limitation is that not all applications, or not all apps, I should say, they don't play nice with this mirroring thing. It's not just with Airserver and Reflector, but also with other Apple mirroring system. Okay, it doesn't play nice, so you got to try it. I have found one really nice, cool application that work. I mean, it looks fine in my iPad, okay, but it doesn't look quite right on the screen. In my iPad, I can see a good, right here. I can see a good demonstration. It was a physics iPad I saw. Since all of you are sitting down so nicely, I'm going to open it up again. Okay. So exit and say hello again. Try reflection. Memoryless properties, so nice, right? So this Xperica HD for physical stuff, law of moments, oscillations, resistance in series, all those things you can see. I like this. We do this in math too. A pendulum, a spring with a load hanging at the bottom, right? So in this one, if you pull it down, I don't know whether you can see it from there, but it's such a smooth oscillation up and down, and it's graphing on the right, on the left, it's graphing at the same time in my iPad, but you can see it doesn't do that. So to hell with it, right? Any other questions? All right. Questions?
So let me extend the ask question a little bit here. I mean, these are cool stuff.
Right.
But has anybody done any kind of educational research that these are really impacting student learning gains? In other words, effectively improving the quality of education? It's not just to you, but anybody who showed it today.
I don't think we've used it long enough, and I would think if anyone could answer that, Rick may be able to answer that because he's been using Show Me pretty much all semester. He started using it in the summer.
Not only just us, but I mean, is there any kind of research data, references that we can go in and see? Like research papers, actually. I mean, anybody knows?
I'm sure there are.
There have been several reports coming out of the e-card reports from Edu Creations that does have some specific data. I have not looked at the recent ones that you just sent us, but I know we looked at one previously.
Yeah, we'll see if we can gather that information and send it out to you. Yeah, we'll send it out to you.
We'll have some evidence, actually.
I think for us it's so new. We're just
Exactly.
And also, I'm sure people have been experimenting or trying this for a while now. We're just a little late to the curve.
I bet you somebody
so somebody must have done something, and that we've only been focusing on what is out there right now, rather than okay, now that we have, what can we do with it? That's the next phase for us.
And for most, it's just it solves an obvious problem in your class, or it enables you to do something you weren't able to do before.
Right.
And if it works, it works.
Right.
That's often
so
enough.
yeah, the way I think about it is, iPads, there are 3 ways it can help us. One, for our logistical needs, like for example, in iPad there are applications you can buy, or you can use Excel sheet-like thing to create your own attendance reports. So I can just go around. I'm not going to show this to the students, but since this is a college-issued iPad, I have some applications from them, such as numbers, and I use this sometimes to just experiment. Okay, not really. You can see that it's not really too elaborate, but create a table. There are 3 students in my imaginary class, and today is November 9th. And I want to take attendance. I could, just click here and click all the list, all the names here, but it makes it easier just to create a form, automatically create a form, and then say, okay, John was here, so was Mary, but Beth was not here. So now if I go back, it's already done over here. I can export this to Excel and other things, but that's for somebody else to present, not mine.
IT also has an app that supports Word, Excel, PowerPoint, also on the iPad.
Right. But I think if you have college-issued iPads, you can get it from the IT.
Yeah, those are for college-issued
Right.
iPads. Correct.
Any other questions for Ron?
No.
Ron, thank you. In closing, you can see we have a lot of exciting stuff going on here at the college. The faculty here are doing wonderful things. If any of you have any apps you want to share with us, send them my way and we'll disseminate them as broadly as possible. Giannis was telling me earlier about an app that will allow you to read Flash. Giannis, you want to mention that?
Yeah, it's a app that needs to be purchased. It's about $5, and I discovered it when I was working on some things for math. It's called Photon Browser, or Photon Flash. What it actually does, it doesn't play Flash residently on the iPad. It goes out to a web server and it comes back with the Flash being played out there. So you need an internet connection, but if you're on something like my Math Plus, where you're on the internet anyway, then you would just run it from the browser and you can view all the Flash.
What's the name of the app?
It was Photon Flash Viewer and something else.
Is it
P-H-O-T-N.
Thank you.
P-H-O-T-O-N, sorry. There's also another one that's a free one, gives you a free trial to use it before it asks you to pay, and that one is Puffin, free, and that's P-U-F-F-I-N.
What is that do?
It's also for Flash.
That's also for Flash, but that's the one we tried that didn't do everything just perfect, but it might work in other instances.
Great. Yes?
Speaking of college-issued iPads, I was wondering how far are we in terms, how far away are we from giving each faculty member an iPad to use in the classroom? These are wonderful tools, and right now I have my own, but most faculty don't. And so what's going on? I know Lori was here. I don't know if she's still
I'd be happy. Hi, I'm Donna Shona, for those that you may not know me, and I'm the acting CIO at the college. We are really engaging quite actively right now with Dr. Chang and some others to making sure that the technology that is needed in the classroom, IT really is an enabling partner in the teaching and learning mission of the college, and we are working very hard at turning that model around so that we are provisioning what's needed in the classroom. So we're working with Dr. Chang right now to figure out what's the best way to do that. But I would say if there's a need, put it in, because it really is about enabling teaching and learning in the classroom. We've got a large number of iPads out there right now. We're piloting with Dr. Chang with the SEM disciplines right now with some iPads, and really doing it in a way that not just giving the iPads, but bringing that information back, quite frankly, to OIT, because I think it's important for the staff in OIT to have a real understanding and passion about this technology in the classrooms. We provision a lot of technology, we provide a lot of infrastructure, but how that really happens in the classroom, many of the staff don't get the opportunity to do that because they're behind the scenes. I've taken some takeaway notes today. It was great to be here with you. Any thoughts you have, any suggestions you want to make, that's really why we're here now, and that our focus is really changing to make sure that we are partners with the teachers, with the faculty, and as well for the students. So If you need iPads, that's what we're here for. The IT budget is here for the teaching and learning mission of this institution. It is not the IT budget. It is the college's budget to make sure that we leverage technology in the way that it's needed in the classroom.
Get your requests in before we go for break. I want to thank you again for coming. Please make sure you sign out. I also want to thank Gloria Barron for all her help in getting this organized. Thank you.